I'm Ken Grossmith. Did sailing at Lake McElwain, Amvukwi Sailing Club, Pemby Dam. Glory years were basically your mid-60s into your 70s. I had to give up sailing. What was it? About 73, somewhere around there. And my brothers were sailing, different classes and that sort of thing still. So it was in the 70s that it was still fairly strong. And then, basically I was out of it, after that. And the only time I got back to sailing was when I came down south and sailing at Florida Lake. That would be 80, 81, 82, 83. I sailed at Florida Lake. He's a year older than me, and he took to the fin, having 4 kids in the family. As we got out of oppies, so my dad would, work out what sort of boat you're showing a tendency for. And Guy went for fins, straight off.
Really, eh?
Yeah. And he grew up racing his fin. My brother had a marine ply boat. A lot of the newer boats were sort of re-imported from overseas after basically the Olympics. A lot of the guys would try and buy the boats to bring back, the guys that went over to race at the Olympics, and then we were kicked out.
That's right.
But the main thing was that boats were imported either from South Africa or overseas, depending on what was available. Look, there would have been the top guys would have gone to down south to compete, so that would be, something that can't remember, the guys going down, but we always had a lot of information of what's going on around in the class groups. Guy Grossmith, he was up the top of the fleet all the time. We had a lot of, I can name a couple that I can think of right now. McFadden, and then my first boat was an OK. No, it's same as a fin, with a chine, not a, what's the name, wooden mast. Exactly the same as a fin, because back in our days, you had wooden masts that you had to plane. And so that was the big thing, was to, there were so many masts going around that you could, and then the top guys all had bringing in the Proctor masts and all that sort of thing.
Okay,
so the OKs were the same sort of category, but all wood. We sailed all around the country. Basically, every long weekend there would be a regatta somewhere, and it was always mixed. So if they had a fleet of fins, you would sail in a fleet. If there was less than 3 boats, you were chucked into an O class. So every yacht club would take on the 5-0s, the Dutchmen, the whole lot. Enterprises, GP14s, they were all raced at different clubs. And you would get 40 boats at a regatta, mixed fleet. And so therefore, that's how we got all our experiences together. Also with the oppies, us being young, back in the 60s, when we first started sailing, the parents would be sailing their big boats and the kids would have their little oppies. We sailed around. Mom and Dad had a 505 and we had 4 oppies.
Wow.
We were known as the Grossmith Circus at some stage. And we would travel to every regatta. Every long weekend, there would be a regatta. And so the whole would be loaded up on the whatever day the weekend started, rushed down to Bulawayo, Gwelo, Umtali, Salisbury, even down to Kyle in Fort Victoria. So then we would have a Central African regatta at Kariba, and everybody would shoot up there, for the regatta up there. No, we sailed out in the middle. No problem. We never had an issue. The biggest problem we had in Kariba was the weed, because we would go out early in the morning to do races, and they would have the course set out quite far out. So it was like flat water, and when you come to go back into the shore, the weed would have drifted around and blocked and they would have to tow the boats in with power boats. So you'd link up on the edge of the Kariba weed, link main sheens out, sails down, and then be dragged in by to the clubhouse. And look, we never really had a problem because we were that far out. We sailed at Marandellas, that dam there. Our little dam that we all learned to sail in was a place called Mvukwi's, which is north of Salisbury. A little dam there, and we had a strong fleet there of 5-0s, RPs, and GP14s. Odd Enterprise as well. But that, basically, wherever there was a bit of water, there were dams and sailing clubs set up.
Can you remember?
Mainly they were on Lake Mackleway at the Zoe Yacht Club. That was where the biggest fleet of Finn sailors were. There were the odd Finn sailors at other clubs around Rhodesia, sailing at different dams, that sort of thing. But when it came to the nationals and stuff like that, we could have, I think, in the region of about 20-25 Finns together. Would be held in August. It gravitated around a lot. What the Central African Regatta, as it started off back in the 60s, was held 1 year at Beira and 1 year inland. So every second year we were at the coast or at a dam, Kariba, Mackleway, depending on where it had been allocated to. But majority of the time, every second year we were at Beira, where we had the biggest fleet attraction in one flow. Yeah, there would be a few, but not a lot of Portuguese. But we would get competitors from Zambia, Malawi would come down for those Central African regattas. It was basically, the classes were from Zambia, Malawi, Zimbabwe. That's why it was called the Central African Regatta, that's how it came. And then all the different classes at the Central African Regatta would have their AGMs and get-togethers all in that week.
I get it.
So every Dutchman, Finns, OKs, the whole lot would have their class get-togethers held at the same time as the Central African Regatta.